Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today it is going to be our part 2 of our free agent, preview. We try to make random guesses where people could go. Today we got wide receivers and tight ends. We're going to go through the wide receiver list, the tight end list, kind of give, some ideas where we think some of these players could end up. These are much more interesting, I feel like, these two positions than, quarterback and running back, in the way that I feel like teams, it's pretty clear who the quarterback needs are and the running back needs are. Wide receivers could probably go anywhere. So teams use 3 guys now, 4 guys, so we can find out. That'll be interesting. I haven't really looked through the list very well yet. So this will be kind of my first glance at looking at everybody, kind of trying to see what I think here. So we'll go through all of this right now, Jeff. We'll start off with who is probably the top receiver. Right before we get into this, quarterback and running back for sure is much deeper free agent pool than the wide receivers. Wide receivers are a little bit weak if you really glance at this list. Number 1 guy, though, Allen Robinson. Where is he going to end up?
Oh, man.
Think he's staying with Jacksonville? I'm honestly leaning that. I think he's staying with Jacksonville.
I do, only because of his injuries. I think it makes the most sense. He's so young still, and he was so dominant. Was it 2 years ago now?
Yep.
Was it 3? 2?
No, it was 3 years ago. So
3
it
years
was
ago?
dominant. He was only 22 that season, I think.
So, they always they kind of have a bunch of hodgepodge of just in-between guys right now, and they do have a couple of young guys that people are going to talk about. Cole, that they're like, oh, he could be something, but we don't know yet. So I think it's very safe for them to sign Allen Robinson. You probably get a discount because of his injury concerns. He'll be your number 1. Then you'll have a few other guys, and maybe they part ways with, one of these in-betweeners. I don't see anyone else that is going to pay the kind of money they want for Allen Robinson. I'm trying to think of someone that needs a true number 1. And nothing is really coming to my mind.
Everyone, the teams that keep coming up in these wide receivers are Baltimore. Some people, Chicago comes up. But Baltimore seems to be like the main team that you think could be decent that might just need a wide receiver, which I think that just sounds so terrible to me.
Yeah, if I was Allen Robinson, I wouldn't want to go there. The only other place, if you really wanted to get paid, maybe like the Jets, because they have so much money and they don't have, with Robbie Anderson's problem, and Nunemo was hurt last year as well, it's a landing spot that he might be able to get paid. But I feel like Jaguars are just so far ahead of everyone else right now.
I think so too. I think he's going to stay there. They were a great team, and they didn't even have that top receiver like that. And I think they have Robinson. That's only going to help, like the D.D. Westbrook, Keelan Cole types. They can actually step up. They'll have some, but they won't be the main guy. That's going to be pretty solid, except they have Blake Bortles at quarterback.
Yeah, and you do have Fournette running the ball. So if they can, up that passing game, if Blake Bortles can turn in an Alex Smith type year, they will be very, very difficult to stop.
I think he's going to stay there. I'm not going to really consider too much else. Next guy, Sammy Watkins.
Same deal.
Only 24 years old. He's young.
Yep. And he finally got healthy for a year.
And that was one of the posts we did on Instagram. I did Sammy Watkins versus Robert Woods. Who would you rather have on your fantasy team? It came back overwhelmingly Robert Woods.
What, really?
Yeah.
For this upcoming year.
Yep.
Oh man, I would be way over Sammy Watkins.
Me too.
Because you looked at their numbers, and Sammy Watkins almost had very similar numbers to Woods, even though Woods was consistent. Watkins found his way into the end zone. He had a few good games. If you can somewhat string that out or get some sort of consistency, which I think Watkins, it felt like he's possibly turning the corner, and so is Goff, and they're going to be able to run the ball so proficiently. I think Sammy Watkins will get a little easier of a time going down the field compared to the Bills, where he was always double covered. I think Watkins will finally have a year where he can have some real success. And I've always been kind of a hater down the stretch because he always gets hurt, and he's always, been the number 1 at a team that doesn't throw well. I think this might be his first year, and I would rather have Sammy than Woods. And I know you would too, obviously, right?
I think the talent is so much more there for Sammy Watkins. And I think he's going to be great. I really do. I honestly think he's going to have a big year, and it's going to people are going to be down on him. He is not going to be like an overdrafted guy.
It might be the first year I kind of like him.
I think you could very, very easily get Sammy Watkins as your fourth receiver on the team at times.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, I love him at that spot. If you don't have to,
yeah, at fourth, yeah, absolutely, no problem.
Too many people just think Robert Woods is going to be the main guy there, but he's not. I don't even think it was like that last year. Teams really still tried to stop Sammy Watkins. That's one of the reasons why Goff just didn't go that way. He wasn't going to. He's a young quarterback. He wasn't going to force it, and he didn't. Sammy Watkins has a guy there, safety help. They're not going to go to him. Goff's going to make the good decision, and it might change. They're going to have to be a little more honest if Robert Woods can keep playing. If Cooper Kupp keeps getting a little better, Sammy Watkins I think is going to break out, especially with a full year now with the team. Full year with Jared Goff just not getting thrown into it. Yeah. And, when preseason and training camps going on, I think he's going to be really good. And I'm all in on Sammy Watkins again. I'm going to be probably find his way in a few of my teams. So
yeah, and take it from me because I was a hater the year before, so this is not just me riding a bandwagon. I truly think he's in a better position this year.
All right, another guy who actually was just franchise tagged, but it looks like it was more of a move to then trade him, Jarvis Landry. So Dolphins franchise tagged him, but it really looks like they actually want to trade him. Where could he end up here?
That's pretty crazy, though. You franchise tag someone, you have to pay them what, average of the top 5 position?
His would be $16 million is what you'd have to pay Landry for that.
Who the hell is going to trade for him at that, though?
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I don't either.
And again, one of the teams that comes up is Baltimore. They come up with every wide receiver here. Maybe I really want to see Jarvis Landry with like the 49ers, though. But Miami doing this, it kind of screws it. I hate the fact that teams can do this. Just franchise tag somebody who's going to be a free agent, and just now he's out of options. I don't really like the franchise tag rule. I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it, 2 years in a row?
I think you can do it 3.
Really?
Because there was the talk the Redskins could do it to Cousins again.
Really? That's something I should actually look up.
Right? It goes up. Obviously, the amount of money they got to pay, they're compensated very well for that.
Yes, very well.
Still, I hate that they can do this to people.
If I'm correct, it is the average of the top 5 in your position, correct?
I believe so. I believe that's what it was. But yeah, Jarvis Landry, sounds like they want to make a trade for him. I don't know how that's going to do. Basically, what they would have to do is he would have to almost agree to a new contract with the team that traded for him. So the $16 million wouldn't happen necessarily. He would agree to a new deal with the new team before a deal even was done. That's how it would have to happen.
Oh, that's dumb.
Yeah, so he still has some of his rights here. But the Dolphins, if they just want to get something for him. It's kind of a cheap thing, I feel like, in a way. But that's how it works.
Yeah. If I was him, maybe I would wait one more year and just get paid that $16 million and then be like, I'm a free agent. Well, they'd probably do it to him again.
Just screw over the Dolphins' plans there and just say, I'll take my $16 million, play a year. But you kind of want to. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I don't know how I feel about Jarvis Landry. A lot of people seem to like him quite a bit. I know he's still more of a possession guy. He catches a lot of passes. So PPR, he's always, great option, but maybe he'll start getting some touchdowns. If Jarvis Landry ever started catching touchdowns, he vaults to a top 10 wide receiver every year. So we'll just have to wait and see if that could ever happen. It's all going to depend on where he goes. I wish I could see him with the 49ers with Garoppolo, give a nice option there, but I don't want to see him with Baltimore.
All right, just because, I don't want to see anyone with Baltimore. That's the problem. But this is how it works, I guess. And just so we know, because I looked it up real quick, but it looks like a player that is tagged 2 straight years, the team must pay 120% of the player's previous salary. If it goes to 3 straight years, so you can do it 3 years in a row, team must pay that player 144% of that previous salary. Wow. So that goes up so quickly.
So at least they have that going for him. So
yeah, you get way paid.
All right, next guy, Marquise Lee. Not terribly interested in him. I think no matter where he ends up going, if he doesn't stay with the Jaguars, he could be an okay option. But to me, that doesn't scream as a fantasy relevant player to me very much, except bye weeks. Maybe he does some good stuff and get him a waiver wire, but any interest there right now? That's going to be a complete dependent on situation where he goes.
Yeah, he's Yeah, I mean that's
Just,
kind of the
right.
you said it. And he's an intriguing guy because he did have some athletic ability, definitely.
He's just going to depend so much on situation.
Yeah, and that whole Jaguars, situation is what I'm kind of waiting to see, because if they do sign Allen Robinson, Marquise Lee won't be there, and then you still have Hearns, and then you have
they have five, like they have Robinson, they had Hearns, they have Westbrook, Cole, Lee. That's a lot of guys.
Yeah,
who are all kind of. Other than
exactly
Robinson,
right.
They're kind of the same.
Yeah, that's
right?
that's how I feel, and that's why I would sign Allen Robinson, let Marquise Lee walk, and then honestly, if you could let like Hearns walk too, he's not a free agent, but so you'll have four kind of interesting wide receivers at that point, and then Allen Robinson that can be your number one.
Another guy here, Paul Richardson. He's actually interesting.
I don't know how I feel about Paul Richardson.
I don't either.
Because of that, I just assume he's going to sign back with Seattle, because
it seems though maybe not, because I'm checking out an article here. Well, this is actually with Marquise Lee both and Paul Richardson. It's from what's his name? Jason from overthecap.com. He thinks the value for both Marquise Lee and Paul Richardson would be in the $6 to $6.5 million a year level. Does that seem a little maybe much? I don't think the Seahawks are going to re-sign Richardson for like a $6.5 million a year if that's really what he can get. Seems a bit much.
I feel like they need someone else, though. They have Baldwin, and then what?
Lockett?
He always gets hurt. Otherwise, I've wanted to love him for so long. Yeah, so I don't know. I tell you the truth, I would have to look and see. That might just be the going rate too, though.
Yeah.
Like, is $6 million really that high for a number 2 wide receiver? Say.
Maybe
It seems a bit high to me, but also I feel like every price is rising, right? So if you told me $4 million, I wouldn't have really batted an eye. But also Garoppolo is the highest paid player in the NFL, so.
I feel like he's gonna find a spot somewhere else, and I think he's gonna move on for that. I don't know where, but it could be. I mean, you always see like people. There's these teams writing about why their team should get him. They said Paul Richardson would be a solid free agent addition for the Eagles. That would actually be cool. I mean, really, it's Alshon and it's Nelson Aguilar, because Torrey Smith is kind of a nothing. Put him in there as like a third.
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
Why not?
I don't know if he'll be a
$6 million for a third.
Yeah.
But then why wouldn't Seattle pay for him?
But it's just gonna depend on where he goes. If he's gonna be a fantasy option, that's another guy. He could be in the right situation. So I'm kind of intrigued by him, but you gotta wait and see where he goes. He's only 25 years old though.
Yeah, so. He's a young one.
Terrell Pryor is out there.
That's interesting. Yeah, do you think anyone's going to just throw him on their team? And
Cleveland's looking at him again. And I already see people on different places that, if he goes back to Cleveland, he's going to be really good again. I don't think
Not
so.
really good. Well, what I do like about that is the fact that they're going to get a huge discount on him after leaving 1 year, and he will be your number 3 wide receiver. Can you imagine a guy that big and athletic lining up as your number 3? So he could do better, but Gordon and Coleman, if they're healthy, should soak up the majority of those. That would be interesting, though.
That's about the only place I hear any talk for him right now is back with Cleveland.
I actually would like that. That way they don't have to keep reaching for other players, and I think you could get him at a crazy discount.
Mike Wallace is a free agent. I don't care.
Nah.
He's already 31. Getting up there. Jordan Matthews, only 25 years old. Thought he was going to be a lot better than he was, and it's just not happened with him.
No.
Eagles moved on from him.
Well, he went to they trained him with the Bills, and then immediately
he got hurt, and so.
Yeah, do you think that the Bills will re-sign him after getting him and Benjamin?
He could get signed for like a nothing deal, and he's only 25. He has potential to do something yet, but it's just not happening yet. But nothing that he's gonna have to be a guy that shows us something in the season, pretty much next year, to put him on your teams. John Brown's a free agent.
Oh man,
never gonna happen.
I was like, how our heart bleeds for this guy.
He's already 27 years old too. Can you believe John Brown is already 27?
There was a moment where we thought he could break out in that Cardinals offense.
I thought he was gonna come back this year and be able to do something, but he's 27. He will turn 28 in just over a month. already. Like what? I still feel like he's like a 24-year-old guy.
Yeah.
So not really. I don't really think there's a market for him either.
Nah, I think he'll end up somewhere trying to prove himself, but,
What about a Dante Moncrief?
And he is still crazy young.
He is.
I really think that
there's potential there.
And, I mean, he did have those injury problems, and even last year, he had no one throwing it to him. T.Y. salvaged somewhat of a year out of it because he's that good. So, I could see Moncrief ending up with the Colts again because he already knows the system. He was kind of healthy for a year. Luck will be coming back. It kind of lines up if they're not going to go off and try to get, another primetime guy, someone that you can stretch the field a little bit. I think he still has a potential to be a pretty good possession wide receiver.
I think he's like a candidate for like a post-type sleeper type player.
Yeah.
He's kind of forgotten right now completely. And
still very young. I can't believe he's only 24.
Yeah, his rookie season, he was only 21 years old. Like his yards per catch last year was actually the best he's had in his career. So there could be something. He's young. Wide receivers sometimes don't break out right away. It takes them a while. There's still a chance. This isn't gonna be somebody we're gonna be big on and predict it, but it's gonna be a guy that's in the back of our mind, and we're gonna kind of
I think on. Yeah, and I think his best option is to stay with the Colts, and I think Colts, because of the year they had, Moncrief didn't really blow up, stand out, anything, of that sort. So no other team really has an idea of his full potential yet, which I think is beneficial to the Colts as well.
Let's see. Some other players. Taylor Gabriel, free agent. He's intriguing, but I just don't think he's gonna have some. He'll have big plays. He'll do well at times, but I think he should stay with the Falcons. I don't think there's really much value outside of that.
I do too.
So he's one they should probably stay there. Then there's just random guys that probably won't do much for you. I mean,
there is a name down all the way is a Green Bay guy that's been sitting the bench, Jeff Janis, who they talked about. He's 26 years old.
He should be 32 by now.
I know. So that's why he intrigues me a little bit because we didn't truly get to see him, and a lot of good wide receivers are on that Green Bay team. You wonder if he'll end up somewhere. I could see him flying under the radar and perhaps getting some playing time for a team you don't expect. So I'm kind of intrigued by him in a weird way.
I was looking at some of the ages of these free agents, and like somebody like a Deontay Thompson. Remember him last year? Had those like couple breakout games. He's already 29 years old. Like that was a really late start to his career. And then like a Michael Floyd, he's only 28 yet. Michael Floyd should be 35.
Yeah, that guy. I mean, he's just done.
Right, and then there's just some other. Danny Amendola is a free agent, so he should re-sign with the Patriots because that's the only place he has to be any kind of relevant. He's 32.
I was just say, do you think that the Patriots will sign him for another year?
Maybe. I think for like a nothing deal. I don't think he has any kind of.
Right. I think it'll be one more year, but I mean, do you? Or I feel like
they will. I think they might.
I feel like they never let guys go, but at the same time, I feel like this would be the moment too.
Yeah. It's hard to say what the Patriots are going to do ever.
Yeah.
All right, tight ends. A couple interesting names here. Jimmy Graham's the main one. I don't have a good feel for what he's going to do. At the end of the day, I feel like it's going to be back with the Seahawks. Because at 31, can you really get a big deal? A big contract at 31 years old? With injury history that Jimmy Graham has had?
Well, I mean,
but he might be too much money for them to re-sign. He's in an interesting spot.
Yeah,
he could get one more deal, like a 2-year deal. I don't think the Seahawks might want to. They don't seem to want to pay guys like that.
Yeah, I think he could still get paid going somewhere. And 31 for a tight end is not the end of the road, really.
But Jimmy Graham, maybe.
I mean, okay, look at this
too. He could fall off quicker.
Like, there's two guys on this list that are both 37: Ben Watson and Antonio Gates. Yes, I don't want to re-sign either of them, but. And Antonio Gates is one of the best, tight ends of all time. Jimmy Graham is still very, very good. And, Antonio Gates 5 years ago, even say 3 years ago, was very, very usable, very, very good. So I think Jimmy Graham has a few years left in him. I'm not as worried about the injury concerns. The big one with that is, are you going to go somewhere where you can win? So is someone in a better position than Seattle going to give him some cash? I'm trying to think of a place.
Well, here's some teams. This is a Sporting News article who says They don't believe Jimmy Graham's going back to the Seahawks. It just doesn't seem to be a thing. Some potential options that they gave. Houston.
Actually, I really like that one.
That's not bad.
You have Deshaun
That's not bad
Watson slinging the ball down the field.
That's not a bad one.
I like that one a lot.
The Patriots? Nah.
Actually,
if Gronk leaves, if Gronk retired, sure.
Even if they don't,
Gronk.
I mean, remember when Gronk and Hernandez? They killed people with that. Well, and let's be honest.
I mean, literally.
With time, yeah. oh, cheap shot. But but I think that would. They won't pay him. But I actually like that one, especially with Tom Brady nearing the end of his career. You're probably looking for a way to confuse defenses, spread the ball out even more. I really like that idea too. For Jimmy, I like Texans a little better because I think they'll pay him.
I do like that option too. Green Bay's an option here. I think Green Bay's done in the tight end market. Martellus Bennett didn't work out.
Every tight end should know I'm not going to go there.
Baltimore is on everyone's list.
Oh, dear
Just
God.
Stop with Baltimore.
They need every position.
The Falcons. Austin Hooper didn't really do what we wanted.
Yeah, that'd be a good landing spot for him.
The Saints. Go back to the Saints.
I mean, obviously, I like that too. You reunite with Breeze for the last 2 years of his career. I think they would pick up right where they left off. Maybe not quite as good, but so if you had to rank those according to who you would go to if you were Jimmy, and to get paid the longest term deal you possibly can, and obviously the best chance of winning, which would be your top 3 teams in what rank?
I did not consider it until I looked at this list, but Houston, I love for Jimmy Graham himself. I love the Houston option. Is that feasible for Houston itself? I don't know. But for him, I love that option. I mean, for him, he'll get most work and most money there. And then the Patriots, if you want to take a little less money and just be that would be a good option, but he'd have to take less money for that. So Houston, Patriots, and then probably just go back to the Saints. I think those are my 3.
Yeah, those actually would be my 3 too, but I would flip the Patriots and Saints because I really do like, and all 3 of those teams, well, Patriots and Saints obviously, both made the playoffs. Texans, I think, with Watson, another year. Watt, Clowney. I mean, there's a lot of pieces to like there, and I think Jimmy Graham would fit really, really well in there. So that's why that'd be number 1, and I think they'd pay him. But I like the Saints. I think people are, kind of sleeping on him a bit. You still have Breeze. You have an unbelievable run game. You have a legit Michael Thomas. If you added Jimmy Graham and then whoever they had, like Snead or whoever the hell is number 2, you add a few pieces to that defense. They already were a playoff caliber team.
Yep.
I really like them as the number 2 compared to playing second fiddle to Gronk.
The next tight end, Tyler Eifert. Very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I know you like him.
He is medically cleared now for OTAs.
The big thing is, okay, and I'm just going to talk as if he stays healthy because that's always going to be the thing, right?
I guess, what do we really know? What has he really done?
He's
all potential.
A big athlete that can catch the ball, that loves to get hurt.
Pretty much.
I haven't heard too much about him. I think it's because people are so afraid of giving this guy money and then him getting hurt. Have you heard whether or not Cincinnati or someone else is a better chance?
Well, here, I haven't heard anything real yet. Let's just throw Tyler Eifert into the Google News. Let's pull up some headlines. Here we go. Denver Broncos article. Tyler Eifert, an option in free agency. Tyler Eifert makes too much sense for the New England Patriots.
Oh, he kind of does.
Then somebody's, would Tyler Eifert be worth the risk for the Ravens? Stop it, Ravens.
It's always Baltimore, man.
Is Bengals tight end Tyler Eifert a good fit for the 49ers? Another one.
Well, they have Kittle, don't they?
Yeah.
See what he can do first.
Let's see. There was one more I saw about Seahawks should take a flyer on tight end Tyler Eifert. If Graham moved on, that's not a bad option. Get Tyler Eifert in there for a cheaper deal. He's not going to get any big deal. They shouldn't with the history here.
I can see some bad team giving it to him, though.
So Tyler Eifert's best season was 52 catches for 615 yards. The reason we all...
How many touchdowns did he have, though?
13.
Yeah.
That's crazy. 13 touchdowns off 52 catches.
Yeah, that's mad crazy.
So over his career, he has 5 seasons. He's played 39 games, in 5 seasons, which you should be at
you can
80,
almost get to that in 2.
Should you be at you should be at 80 games in 5 seasons, I think.
Yeah, so he plays less than 50% of the time.
And so in 5 seasons, he has 127 catches, 1,500 yards. That's just a Antonio Brown season in 1. He took him 5 and 20 touchdowns. His touchdown number is the big number. So there's potential, but he's played year 1, he played 15 games. Year 2, he played 1. Year 3, he played 13. Then he played 8 in 2. Yeah. He just needs to sell if he can get. There's some good New England on a nothing deal. I love that.
I know.
I love those deals. Somebody should take a chance at Tyler Eifert, though. He's only 27.
You have to. I have a feeling because there's going to be so much speculation, I feel like he will get paid by someone. Otherwise, it does make a whole lot of sense for New England. Because I love the idea of them getting Eifert or Graham and just having 2 crazy athletic tight ends. And also it gives you some insurance on Gronk and say Eifert. Eifert both are injury risks, so you're just hoping that at least you'll have one the entire season. That does make a lot of sense, but are they going to be willing to pay him, compared to Baltimore, they'll throw some money at a young guy?
Yep. Baltimore responds to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, they got to get someone.
Next guy, Austin Seferian-Jenkins. Interesting guy.
Younger than I thought he was.
He's only 25 years old. It sounds like recently he just turned down a 2-year, $8 million total contract from the Jets to become a free agent. I guess there just wasn't enough guarantees in the deal for him to sign. But if he's turning down 2 years, $8 million, maybe he's in that market. I don't know. Somebody's going to sign the guy. Obviously, he's young. He has potential. I feel like he might still end up with the Jets. They'll come back with a better number, more guarantees for him or something. I feel like he's going to end up there. If not, I mean, again, there's going to be the same options that we said before. He could end, maybe he's with Seattle if Graham goes or something like that. The one we haven't brought up or hasn't talked about, but I could see the Jaguars looking for a tight end. They don't really at this point have anybody.
Yeah, so. Who do they still have?
Mercedes Lewis.
Yeah, is he the only one there? Really?
Pretty much. What was it? They had. Let's see. Who have they had? Nobody. Mercedes Lewis. Who else has there been? They had Julius Thomas in 2016.
Yeah. He did really well for them, and then he got paid.
So I mean, Lewis had some times where he looked decent, but I think they could use somebody a little better there. So maybe they're an option. So Seferian-Jenkins could find himself on a team. After that, it gets a little weak. Trey Burton, he had some interesting games for the Eagles. He then threw a touchdown in the Super Bowl. So maybe his name gets a little bigger because of that. But Antonio Gates, what is he going to do?
No, I mean, he's got to retire, right?
I don't know.
What? There's no way. I mean, first of all, Chargers would be crazy to, get him back even for a year. He already has the record.
He hasn't retired yet.
I mean, he should really just retire. And not because maybe he could go out there and catch a few more, but at this point, you're just asking to be carted off the field. I mean, come on, man.
All right. That's about it, honestly.
Yeah,
that's really about it.
It's kind of funny. Richard Rodgers, 26, and crazy. He was Green Bay, right? And I feel like he's been around forever. Nothing too crazy. I'm just surprising that far down the list when you see some young guys.
I'm surprised Ben Watson is as old as Antonio Gates. I knew Ben Watson's up there maybe, but he's the same age as Antonio Gates, about 37.
It is pretty amazing how long of a career Antonio Gates has had. And I know he is one of the greatest tight ends of all time. But it's still crazy. 37 years old.
It is. All right. I think that's going to do it for our free agent previews. We have next week, we'll be talking about where these players are all going. So that is finally it feels like there's something big going on. We'll have a couple weeks of that before it kind of goes to a time where there's nothing going on again before the draft. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. So this will be it for free agent talk until next week. This is episode 197, almost to 200.
197, yeah. And we, the season is right around the corner. We will have our official 2018 premiere show debuting April 3rd. Yep. So that is fun.
We'll start the previews then, the team previews.
Yeah, it's going to be
division by division.
And we'll go back up to 3-4 episodes at least a week. We're going to have a lot of information for you guys. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. So we're looking towards that, gearing up.
Yeah, those previews, we'll do the team previews, but it's like a team preview / draft preview episodes. We'll try to see who the team should draft.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll stumble onto Alvin Kamara again, another Alvin Kamara this year, where we just randomly decided that he was going to be good, and it worked out. So we have to call our shot again on draft preview, start going through that. It's a deep running back class this year, so. Oh, it's all coming up quick. It really is. It's going to be here before you know it. So
I know.
It's already, the draft's at the end of next month, so end of April.
Going to be good.
All right. I think that'll do it for this, though. We will talk to you guys next week.